Hi. So I have no slides, but I have a guest and a README. So I worked at Faviard. We produce applications from a knowledge base. We input it to a robot which generates code and does other stuff. And most of you know how language works: ASTs, nodes, visitors, and code generation. So that's great. One thing I haven't heard a lot is here is SQL compatibility. So we have all the JSs and all the platforms. Well, in Ruby and Rails, we use ActiveRecord, which is a great tool, which allows us to write like student.first. And we can write a SQL request with where conditions. And we can write scopes, which are tiny bits of SQL, which you can then chain with other bits of SQL to create quite good requests easily. And then they introduced Arel a few years ago, which is even greater to do this. And well, the goal is you don't know which database you will run your SQL request on, which for many of my friends Rubyist is just like Heroku, PostgreSQL, or their own platforms. But for me, is usually I only know where I will deploy sometimes after the project is done. So it can be like IIS on Windows, or it could be like, I don't know, Oracle on JRuby, which all of these have quirks. So I really, really love and use AWOL. As an example, I can have a bit of a more complex request that I've done to help someone at Remain on Rails weekly workshops. So you have to set up pretty much the aliases you will use for the code to be just a little lighter. And Arel, it's less used, but you can alias tables because you will have to join the same table with different aliases because we are not doing the same things on my request. So perhaps the result is good. I just want here a report for students in classes to see the total hours of classes they should have attended and the actual number of classes they went in. So, well, I've written all of this Arel code, and the problem is that I have to write this in the middle of the screen. Is like I add nodes to write a SQL function which will concatenate the first name and the last name of the student separated by a space. So that's a bit ugly in the code. And then I do my join easily because that's the Rails way. And then I want to have a peculiar join. So then I have more code to work on it. And then I will have all the SQL bits to filter my request. And I will have like aliases to get the data out. So the problem is that it's not very Ruby-ish. I'm a bit sad because I was used to where's the plus? It's like on perhaps, yeah, okay, this will work, thanks. So I was a bit sad because you know, we are used in Ruby to have DSLs, so we don't have to write like student.arel table and blah 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 to add stuff. So I prefer to use just the operators instead of .ec.gteq for greater than or equal. So that's the first thing we've done in our gem. It's open source. Like when you want to compare dates with just the operator and with a literal, you can do that. Currently in Arel, it works pretty cool if you have a column like number and you want to add a literal like plus 42. But if it's not exactly one column, like the sum of one column, and then you add 42 to the sum, it would not work today. So we added like the nodes that are missing in AWOL. And we also added like math function like absolute, random, round, floor, seal, and whatever, because when you want to round things, like every platform is not really compatible and doesn't help you very much. So we also added string operations And like the OR, like coalesce, it's a SQL way to say, well, if A is used, then just output A, and if not, let's output B. A better regex support and find-in sets with the usual AND operator from Ruby. And the hardest was a big surprise to me. Well, I know that managing time is hard, but every single database does this a different way, and it helps a bit, but not so much. So we added all of these functions, well, that's it. We also added stuff to add bulk insert and upsert of stuff. We also have the comparison and support table explanation of what we do and what stuff we did in Arel extension. So, well, if you have problems and you feel that writing Ruby, Rails, and a Rail request is a bit hard for you, and you'd better be more comfortable, please use Arel extensions. I think I will try to put the work to have it merge in ActiveRecord, because I don't really know the people. I know it will be a bit long, but if you want to help, that's fine. Thanks.
Thank you.